It maybe was 2024, but you wouldn't know it by looking at the inspirations of new games. Even this AAA absolute masterpiece and Game of the Year is the sequel to a classic series from the early 2000s and decidedly a throwback. Other popular games that came out in recent years avoid hand-holding and instead challenge players with brutal difficulty, making you consider your every move because any small mistake can cost you everything. Lately, I've been captivated by a game that has similar sensibilities to these AAA juggernauts, but really wears its early 90s PC dungeon crawler inspirations on its sleeves, visually and all over its game design. Demon Lord Reincarnation. But first, if you also feel like games are getting too long, this series is for you. In Weekend Warrior, we recommend unique, self-contained games you can play during the weekend. You are welcome. Back to Demon Lord Reincarnation. This game's premise is simple. An evil demon lord is locked away deep in an underground labyrinth. His minions are at the cusp of releasing him and unleashing hell on Earth once again. Your mission, if you haven't guessed already, is to gather a party of eager adventurers and descend into the demonic catacombs to stop the ritual. Piece of cake, right? Soon after loading into Demon Lord Reincarnation's sepia-toned dungeon, I quickly realized that I was in for a long, torturous, surprising, and rewarding journey ahead. At the warm, comforting light of the surface level's bonfire, characters of all kinds of classes offer their unique skills to fight against the return of Lynod. Mages, executioners, brawlers, bishops, clerics, sages, and many more are at your disposal. Only 4 heroes can join your party, but many more brave faces will be waiting for you when you inevitably return in need of more help. Because, honestly, it's very likely your crew won't see the light of that same fire again. Demon Lord Reincarnation really is as old school as games come. Its commitment to staying as opaque as possible may seem like a detriment in the modern day, but to me at least, it only enhances its charm. For instance, as you venture step by step through the dark corridors of the maze, there's no map to guide your way. Instead, the game's manual, which exists in lieu of tutorials, suggests grabbing a good old piece of graph paper to draw your own map of each 20 by 20 level to navigate the twists and turns of the maze. Well, many thanks, manual. But the manual is not the only thing that's seemingly very out of date, because the details of the battle play out with descriptions in a text box. Besides the static image of the monsters in your way, there are no animations. Like, at all. Demon Lord Reincarnation certainly does not pop off the screen like the icon battles of Final Fantasy XVI, but its lack of advanced graphics pleasantly revs up my imagination as I picture every strike as the descriptions of the battle scroll by. In this game, danger and death lurk around every corner, with enemies crawling from the shadows to derail your mission. Your party begins with bare-bones stats and basic attacks, but find inspiration for new skills and level up during the game's turn-based battles. When and which abilities they acquire is random. While new skills are exciting and sometimes powerful new additions to your arsenals, they're only helpful if your party survives every nail-biting encounter you have to scratch and claw your way through. This game is so hard that expecting any one character to survive the dungeon is an enviable and almost impossible dream. I often find myself losing party members to what was surely an easy encounter, if not wiping completely, having to start again from square one. Sound familiar? While you're able to return to the starting bonfire and completely heal your team, the other option is to attempt to rest in the midst of imminent danger. And the risk-reward of attempting to rest enough to push forward is always thrilling. Sometimes you get lucky, pull off a full party heal, but it's more likely you're immediately ambushed by a horde of enemies, salivating at the chance to kill your wounded group. You may be asking why I'm recommending a game that's so archaic, obtuse, and difficult compared to the graphical excellence and quality of life we expect in 2023. Well, it's because I'm a nerd.
Nerd.
Nope, I am not. Demon Lord Reincarnation simply hits all the right notes as a throwback to the roots of dungeon-crawling RPGs like Wizardry, Ultima, and Might and Magic. The monochrome faux pixel art environments are appropriately creepy and tense. While the world is rendered in 3D, the filter slathered over the screen makes it look like you're playing on a contemporary of the Apple IIe. Similarly, the beautiful character and monster art is evocative. Somehow, they're made even more attractive with the details blown out to nail that retro PC look. The dedication to the aesthetic feels fresh and pairs perfectly with the gameplay Demon Lord Reincarnation emulates from its predecessors. Speaking of gameplay, as demoralizing as it is to lose my entire party to a group of animated skeletons and slimes, Demon Lord Reincarnation smartly keeps you progressing at a steady pace. Even when starting with fresh recruits, every new party member joins the group with a similar level of stats as your dearly departed heroes. Sure, they still need to learn new skills and increase their stats through a few fights, but you're likely to stand a chance of getting back to where you failed before and avenging your fallen comrades. Oh, and by the way, never forget about those who died in your service. I nearly jumped out of my seat the first time the shambling corpse of my former comrade took up arms against me. Not only did the zombie go by the same name, but it was armed with the entire moveset they learned when traveling with me. It's cool moments like this that keep me coming back to Demon Lord Reincarnation and make me wholeheartedly think more people should play it. It may be too old school for some, but there's a lot to learn from and love about this game. It focuses on making traversing and surviving its straightforward journey an unrelenting challenge. It forces the player to take their time and study every room and tunnel and to expect that not every character will make it out alive, and that's okay. That's the reality of taking up arms against the Demon Lord. It's one of the best indie games of the year and criminally overlooked. Anyone who has a penchant for punishment, a fondness for the classics, or is a budding fan of RPGs should give it a try. If you are looking for a game to play this weekend, but gloomy retro RPGs are not your thing, check out our next Weekend Warrior episodes. And if you want to recommend a game you loved, or even one you made for the series, let us know in the comments below.